Welcome you all coders. So today we are going to see one of the coding questions. And so what is the question is all about? The question is about the array of 1 and zeros, and we have to segregate the array in minimum swaps such that all zeros will be in one end and the ones will be in the other end. Okay. So as you can see here, this is our array. Okay. So let's make it like that. So this is our array. So we are using list in the Java program, and because we are using Java for just implementing it, and you can see 1 and zeros are available in the array or the list, and so the final array should be like, there are number of zeros, 3 zeros and 3 1s. This should be array, or it could be all ones in the first end and the other end will be having all the zeros. So we have to check that how many number of swaps are needed to make the array like that. So minimum is minimum we have to count. So if this final result will give us the minimum swaps, then we'll be using this one. So we'll be printing this counter. So counter we will take as a counting number of swaps. Else, if this is giving us minimum number of swaps, we will just print this counter. Okay, so we have to do iteration for this one and this one, and then we will check the two counters. Whichever is minimum, we'll print it. Okay, so what is coming in this case is so how we will implement it. We will make a low. And we will make one more variable. We will name it high. Okay, so let's make the first thing, which is saying that all zeros in the left hand. Okay, so I'm taking one array 110010. Let's comment it out. Okay, I'll comment it out. So you can see that I can put this 0 in place of 1, and it will be one swap required, and it will become the last array will be like this, right? If I just swap the index 2, 0 will swap with index 4 element. Okay, so this is index 4. So as you know, array start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 with 2. When we swap it, it will be 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and the other cases like all zeros in the left, so we have to swap this one and this one. So there will be two swaps. So minimum one swap is required. That is what we have to calculate, the minimum number of swaps. So in this case, this will be giving us minimum number of swaps. Okay. Okay, let's do it. So this is our main. So inside main, I'll just write a while loop. And I'll check that array dot get is my low. So low I have to take. So I'll make a low variable, and one of the variable will be high. Okay, so low will be pointing to 0, and high is going to point to array dot size. Okay, size minus 1. So as it starts from 0 to n minus 1. Okay, we'll check this in the while loop if the low element is 0 or 1. Okay, so why it's giving error? This low element equal to 0, then we will run it, right? No, we have to check that if low, see the condition will be this while is nothing but a loop, right? So loop is used to iterate elements. So here let's remove it just to understand it. So what I have to do, I am taking low and high, right? So low is somewhere and high is in the other end, just pointing to last element. Now what I'll do, I'll move this low to the right hand side and this high to the left hand side, and I'll check the condition that while my low is greater than high. Okay, if this condition is true, then I'll do few things. So if this condition is true, then I'll check that if low element is 1 or 0. Okay. So how will I check? I'll use switch for that. Okay. The statement I'll use, and in the switch statement, I'll pass array dot get of low. This element I'll check if it is 0, else if it is 1. Okay. These are two conditions it has to check. So switch case will be giving us two results. One will be if it is 0 and one is if it is 1. Okay. So the case for 0, if it is 0, we don't have to do anything. So what we will do, we will run a while loop. Before doing that while loop, I'll just write this case for swaps such that all 0 in the left side. Okay, so this is the case, and so as you can see, this is while loop, and the while loop is going to run from left to right. I'll run it again, and then this will be I'm going to copy it, going to paste it such that all zeros in the right side. Okay, so as you see, left side having all zeros, in the right side having all zeros. So in this case, it is giving minimum swap in this case, and maximum in this case, right? So we'll check both condition, because in some cases all zeros in the left will give us minimum count. So I'll take two counter and counter 1 comma counter 2 equal to 0. Okay, so I have to initialize 1 also, so make it 0 2. So here, when case is 0, so when the low element is still not reached to the high, and the array dot get of low is 0, then what we have to do, we have to just run a while loop until array dot get of index low, if it becomes 1, until it is 0, right? Until it is 0, we have to just increment low plus plus, and once it becomes 1, then this case gets satisfied. Now we will have to run a while loop again. Why? Because we have to check that if the high element is 1 or not. If it is 0, okay, if it is 1, we have to do high minus minus, right? We don't want to swap when the high element is 1 until it is 0, so that 0 can be swapped with the this element. So if this happens, so low right now is pointing to what? Is pointing to 1. So I can write a swap function which will be getting low, high, and my list. Now in the list, how swapping happens? It's a list, it's not an array. So in the list, when we add an element, its index, so if I want to add the element in the first index, okay, 0th index, then before that it adds it, and then the next element it will move. Okay, so head will be pointing to first 0th element, and then its pointer will be pointing to next element. So it will not replace the element, so that if I want to swap 1 with this last element, then what I have to do, I have to remove 1 and 0, and have to keep 1 and 0 in temporary variable, and from that temporary variable I'll put it for this index. Okay, so how will I do it? High array low, array is passed, low is passed, and high is passed. Okay, so let's say here it's the method is already there. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to take temp1 and comma temp2 equal to 0 initially. Okay, initialized it with 0. Now what we are doing, we are just trying to swap the elements. So we will do array dot add. Before adding the element into low index, so in the low index we want to add the high. Okay, so high we want to add. So directly if we will add it, the next the in the low index, so low index is having already one element that we want to put into high, so it will move to the right hand side when we will add an element before in this index. So we have to just do one thing, we have to remove that element. So before removing it, I'll just save array dot get of low. I'll save this element somewhere. So let's say temp1. Temp1 is having this element which is integer. Okay, so it's having low and high. I have already added, so I can remove it now. Remove the element at index 0. Okay, as low element have been removed. So I have removed it, and in the low I have added high. Now what I'll do, I'll remove high also. High I have removed. Now high is stored anywhere or not? It's not stored, right? So what we have to do, we have to store it also. Array dot get high, and let's say we want to store it temp2. Now temp2 is having that, so we will just do a copy. Let's not do copy. Okay, I'll write it. Array dot add for index high. I have to add array dot. Let's say what we want to add. I don't. Yeah, we have to remove it, but we have to add the element that's temp1. Okay, in the high we want to add temp1. That's it. So that will swap it. So what we are doing, temp1. For example, low comes as so our initially our low is 1. Okay, and high is 0. So what will happen? Low is 1, so it will check at 1 what is the element. It will check the low, which is so low is not 1, low is 0. Okay, our low is 0, and our high element is size minus 1, which is 1 2 3 4 5 6 5. 5 is the, so at index low is not 1, low is 0. Sorry guys, this is, so at low is 0. So at 0 what is the element? 1. It's 1. And at high what is the element? It's 0. Okay, so temp1 is having 1, so that 1 we are storing in high. Okay, my high will be this. I'm not changing high. High is 4, and at position not high is 5. At position 5 the element is 0, as you can see. Now what is happening, I'm removing the low and then storing element at index high in the low, then removing high and then storing temp1 in the, so temp2 is not required, right? We don't need temp2, so let's say we remove temp2. That's it. Now what we have to do, swapping happened. Okay, so 0 came to 1, 1 came to 0. Now what will happen after swap? What we have to do, we have to decrement high by 1, right? Once we have swapped that that element, once we have swapped it, so we can say this is the array is converted, and cut it and paste it here. So this array will become 1. Instead of 1 it will be 0, 1 0 0 0 1 1. This will be the array. Okay, now what I have to do, I'll just so high will become this in the next iteration, and high became 4. So 1 2 3, one extra 0 I added. Remove it. So now high minus minus, and low plus plus. Low, I'll increment. Okay, that's it. Now the next iteration come, it will check low is greater than high, that is true, and so low is incremented by 1, so low is now pointing to 1, it is also 1. Now I'll check if it is 0, it's not, so it will not increment low, and it will check that okay, so in the switch case, in the switch it will check that array dot get of low, so it's 1, so case 1 will execute, and here it will check that high is 1 or not. So we'll say yes, high is 1, so my high will become to be to pointing to this. Then in this case it will again check the array dot get of low, so it's again 1, so here it will it's not going to switch case, but high became 0. Now it will swap the 0 with 1, so this 1 will become 0, and this 0 will become 1, so it will be this array, final array would be like this. Now this condition is requires two swaps, so we after swap, after doing the swap, we have to increment the counter, that's counter 1. Okay, same case we are writing over here, so let's check it for the other scenario for which we are doing the uh, all zeros in the right hand side. So how will we do that? For doing that, let's say this is the same array. Now it says that low is greater than high. Low will be, once low is greater than high, it will break the element, so this will be less than high. Okay, while run the loop until low is less than high, so this will be true until the element will cross each other. Okay, in the mid it will cross, so till mid we have to check. The second case says that low is less than high. Okay, so array dot get of low, it will check, so low is this only and high is this. Okay, initially if some condition will be same, but now swapping will happen in the other case. So here what is happening, case for swap such that all zeros in the right hand side. So when all zeros will be right hand side, we just have to keep check that if the element at high is 0, so we don't want to swap it, we will just move it to high minus minus, right? So in case of 0, if the low is 0, we have to swap. Okay, we have to swap low with high and array. Now before doing swap, we have to check while array dot get of high until the element is equal to 0, we will just say high minus minus, decrement high until it becomes 1. Okay, once it becomes 1, we will swap it with low because the case is 0, so it will swap the element and then it will say I don't want to swap more, high minus minus and low plus plus. Okay, so in the first iteration what will happen, the case is satisfying for 0, so my low is not 0, my low is 1. Okay, and my 0 is 0, so it will be, that is it, so the condition 1 is true. Now in condition 1, I'll just check that while my array dot get of low equal to 1, if it is true, I'll just increment low. Okay, and so 1 1 and low will become 0 after looping it until it's not 1. So once it's not 1, it will be false and low will not increment more. So it will be here, and high is also 0. Okay, in this case the case 0 is satisfying because my low is becoming 1 now. So it will check that high is equal to 0, is it? So high will be pointing to this one in the next iteration. Okay, and when high became 1 and the low is 0 only, so case 0 again before satisfying this case, so it's not going to check switch again, switch came for the once only, and it is 0, it run the loop, and my high became here. Now I'll swap it. After swap I have to counter to plus plus. Okay, then this, so that will return us counter 2. So counter 2 value will be, so what will be the new array? So it was 0, so this 0 was checked here, and then the while loop run when the element at high is 0. It was true, so high became 1. Now this 1, we will swap with the low. Low was 0, so 0 will become 1, 1 will become 0. So here 1 comes, and this 0 was already there, and 1 became 0 and 0. So in this case it's all swapped. So my high will be this and my low will be this in the next iteration, because low and high have been updated here. And in the next while loop, then it will check this condition. The condition says that low is less than high, so that will be false because low is equal to high. So after that it will come in outside, it will come outside of loop. And now I'll just run a, I'll just run a check. If counter 1, or let's say we will just let's say we will do that counter 1 is greater than counter 2 question mark. If this is true, we will do system out dot println. What do we want to print? We want to print the, if counter 1 is, so we want to print counter 2, else we will just do a print of counter 1. That's it. Okay, let's say this is inside, so this condition we want to store it in the count. And so convert void to int. mm, okay guys, so let's say counter 1 is greater than counter 2. If this is true, it will check this is a condition, right? So it says convert, cannot convert from void to int. So let's say it's not returning anything, so we have to check this statement. If it is true, it will print this. Okay, I'll not say that. I'll say that, let's say we will just store this in the count. Now okay, I stored it in count. I'll print count simply. Okay, that's it. So let's run it. So it should return 1. I run it. It okay, what error? Index. Oh, okay, index out of bound. That's correct. I think it's because, okay, let's check the line numbers. What is the line number? 72. Line number 72. What's that? Here. Okay. Yeah. It will be high minus 1. It will not be high. And we have to remove the element at high minus 1, not the high. Okay. So let's run it. So what is my array? What's my array? It's giving us 0. It's not right. Counter 1. Stamp 1. Okay, let me do a debugging. Let's do debug our code. Let's say where is, where is it going wrong? just check that. Oh yeah. So after that, we forgotten to update our low and high again. So low will be this, and our high will become this again, as it was updated. Okay, I have updated low and high, and I have to, array is also updated. So I have to create one more array. New array will be array two. Okay, for which array two dot size minus one we will just do it here. This array I'll create here itself after after this create this array, and let's try to run it. It's giving a wrong result. Array 2 dot size minus same array. It's giving this result. Yeah. Okay. This is counter one. So if my counter one is greater, I'm returning counter two. Else I'm returning counter one in the count. Okay. Let's print the counter two value. Let's check what is counter one and counter two. Okay, 5 and 2. Okay, 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. So basically, I think it's because I'm swiping the element and then counter plus plus minus minus. There it is going wrong. Let's debug it quickly. Let's wait, and then okay, we'll check that. So counter will be 2 in this case. It's 2. Yeah, it's 2. Here it's coming as 3, right? So let's cross check why it's coming as 3. So initially my low is 0 and high is 5. Correct? That's correct. Now it will check the array. Okay. This is array. Okay, I have to update this to array 1. It should be array 1, not array. This will be array 1. This will be array 1. Now array 1 is not exist. Okay, let's update this to array 1. Okay, I'll update it to array 1. And I think it's now I'll update to array 1. Updated. Now let's do it run. So guys, you can see that it's printing 1. Okay. So let's say I want to update the array again. I want to just I'll make it more complex. So let's say it's 1, and let's say it's, so here it's 1. Let's run it. Okay, it's again it is giving us only 1. So what one step is required? So this 1 will come to this 0. So it will be all 1 1 1 and the zeros on the other end. Okay, let's say if it is not 1, let's say if it is 0. Hmm, if it is not 1, it is 0 now. So what will be, manually you can check that this one and this one, these two ones will come in the end of it. So there will be two swaps. It should be giving us 2. Okay, that's 2. So guys, I hope you like this video. If you like it, just press the like button and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.